have to be done with the...
We're live. Fantastic. Okay.
Woo.
There we go. Pre-show. All right. So now I can profile. I'm going to say hello. Very nice. Perfect. Awesome. 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 Okay. And nobody cares about that. Okay. Terrific. If you're just joining us now, we're just getting ready to record. We're recording early this week because I'll be traveling. So that's the beauty of being an entrepreneur. You're in charge of your own time. You don't have freedom.
You don't have freedom,
but you have flexibility. That's what I mean
correct.
by that. That's what I was going to finish it. Yeah. Freedom is a myth.
Well,
I'm not
no, I know I did a gig last night and we spent it was a Queen David Bowie tribute show.
That's cool.
It went well. We had a band rehearsal Friday. We realized how unprepared we were. They picked all these like different weird arrangements. It was like the live version from Wembley of 1972. It's like, no, studio versions.
Yeah,
Those are the ones that are in our heads, please. Yeah. But anyway, that ship had sailed before I had an opinion on it. And so rehearsal Friday was kind of rough. We got together in the theater at noon yesterday and rehearsed all day, took an hour dinner break, and then played the show.
Oh, wow.
The show went pretty well. Like it really did. It was, but it was like one of those, skin of your teeth kind of things. In fact, we got off stage. We went backstage. Our bass player turned, and he's like, "I don't know what we did to deserve that, but it was just one of those. Thank goodness." But our keyboard player was like, "Well, I'm going to take tomorrow off of work," and I was like, "Oh, that's interesting. Like, I can't." Like my company needs to run and it's Q4. Yeah. I can't
yes.
I don't have that level of freedom.
This will be. We should do this topic next week. Freedom versus flexibility. I think it's because I have a lot to say about it.
Same.
And I think that there's a lot of nuance to it. So
there is a lot of nuance to it. Yeah, for sure.
But I'm excited. I'm excited to even though haven't started the show yet. I'm excited to hear the listener emails and stuff for this week.
Yeah, I gotta get those ready.
Cue them up. Yeah. So if you're just joining us, we're getting ready. Like I say, we're recording early on Monday. Both these shows, we're going to record 2 episodes. That's 2 for you watching at home. And we will release one on Wednesday, the 6th, right? 6th, day after the election.
Easy for you to say.
Easy for me to say. And the other one on the 8th. So it's going to be great. And that's great. Oh, that's good. Just got a 49er update, injury update. Very important.
Oh, hey, yeah, of course.
My son's, yeah. Okay, I bet that reminds me I should go D&D. So broadcast. I don't have those fancy automations that you have.
It's really not all that fancy. I can show you how to do it.
Yeah, I know you can. I'm just kidding.
But it is really nice. Yeah.
I bet. That's great. That's good. Okay, I'm ready anytime you are.
Yeah, same.
If you're ready, let's go.
Yeah, let's do this. Okay. Let's see. Where am I here? That's the one. Yep, I agree. I put the right things on there. Okay, great. Here goes all of it. Business Brain, episode 596 for Wednesday, November 6th, National Nacho Day. Nachos 2024. Greetings, folks, and welcome to Business Brain, the show where you send in some questions this week, and then we take those ideas, we dissect them, we analyze them, we use them to tune our business brains together each and every episode. Our sponsor for this episode is Vanta.com/brain. Vanta automates all your ISO 27001 and SOC 2 and GDPR stuff. And with that link, Vanta.com/brain, you can save $1,000. So we'll talk more about that in a little bit. For now, here in Durham, New Hampshire, I'm Dave Hamilton.
And out here in Northern California, I'm Shannon Jean. I love Vanta, and I like their attitude. They have a huge billboard on the way to the airport that says, Vanta, so your something doesn't sock too. I was like,
very clever.
Good. Yeah, I thought that's pretty nice. I always love those good attitude messages like that.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. So
Jeff,
we're going to talk about some listener emails today, yes?
Yeah, Jeff wrote into
nice.
feedback@businessbrain.show, and he says, I've been listening to you guys talk a lot about AI recently. I've not done much with it since my college Lisp programming days. However, it came up at the company I work because the CFO the other day basically said, under no circumstances will you use any AI because the legal department told us that if you use AI to generate any artifacts, you don't own your product anymore, and it puts the company at risk. Jeff continues, I think that's a very short-sighted and reactionary response, but I'm also hearing that from several other people that it seems to be the current lawyer go-to answer right now. Have you guys run into any questions like this or any issues? I feel like that knee-jerk response is based on a complete misunderstanding, but once the lawyer says it, listening to reason beyond that seems to go out the door. Interesting. I have thoughts on this, Shannon, but I read the question. I've been talking. What do you think about this?
I have thoughts too. I do think that's kind of short-sighted. I'm not a huge fan of legal departments, as you may know. I have plenty of friends that are attorneys, but it seems like when they get together in groups, it gets a lot worse. I can
they're
see
fine.
that.
They're fine to have a beer with or even play a gig with.
Oh yeah,
but
of course.
But you know, when it's time to actually be lawyerly, it gets in the way.
You know, I think most lawyers are very risk averse, and I think
that's often the job you ask them to
they're
to
trying
do.
to protect you from every possible thing. And you know, if I was running a Fortune 1000 or working at a Fortune 1000 corporation, I could see easily, or I understand them saying, "Hey, this is just a blanket. We're not using it," because I think they don't know, right? And so if you don't know, the answer is no. Right?
That's it.
Right? And from an entrepreneur's perspective, I think that's crap. And I think that
But here's the thing though. They might be right.
They might be.
Like this is the problem here because it has not yet been tested in a court of law.
We don't know yet.
But we don't know. But let's put on, I'm going to put on my hack lawyer hat here, right, for a second, because I'm a pretty good hack lawyer, which means don't take any of my advice, but I take my own advice. And I look at this and I say, okay, let's put up like a prima facie case to this here, right? On the surface, prima facie.
Yes,
that's my lawyer terms for you for the day.
Yeah.
Where you say, okay, on the face of this, that's what prima facie means.
Mm-hmm.
Does this hold water? It's like, okay, well, if I use AI to generate, let's say, an image, right? Because that's a good, but it could be text. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
I give it the prompt, right? It's not just randomly coming up with something that I'm using. I give it the prompt. I say, make me an image of two guys talking about how they hate people that are too lawyerly, right?
Yes.
Okay, so now it's going to come up with this image, and I'm pretty sure it's using nothing of mine other than the prompt, but certainly no imagery of mine. And I can safely say that because I haven't ever created imagery on my own that I put out on the internet. That's not not in my talent stack.
Okay.
But it is using imagery that just appeared everywhere. And there are understandably important concerns about, did the AI even have the rights to slurp that data and use it?
Right.
So it's using an amalgamation of lots of those things and pulling it together to approximate whatever prompt I gave it. And that's true of images. It's also true of text. And text comes from not just text we've written, but also the podcast we've recorded. So I know I've contributed to that for better and for worse. So now you have this image that no one created, right? No person created. It was a combination of my prompt and other people, lots of other people's artwork.
Could be millions of
samples
that it has tagged as referencing something, and then it's trying to combine those things together to create something new. Right?
Yeah. But
that's the question, isn't it?
Can I say that I have copyright to that? I would say no.
I would agree that yes.
I don't. But I don't know that anybody else does. So that's my lawyerly thing. It's like, I can't copyright this, but I don't think somebody can come after me for using it but we do it all the time. We take an image and we put it up as the artwork for the show.
It is, but we don't copyright that. We're not saying we own it.
That's right.
I think with the AI where it is now, it's a fantastic way to get started, but then to iterate on.
Of course, right? Especially with the writing.
Yes, especially with the writing. If giving you something to work with and start and give you some background. But even the imagery, when I've used it, I often have to go fix it, so to speak.
Oh, for sure.
Especially if there's text or whatever.
Oh, it's a disaster. Yeah.
It's very it's not intelligent.
But even like text that I have it generate, I also need to go fix that often.
Yeah.
But it's a great starter. It's the procrastination killer, right? Because it's like, I don't know how to get started with this. Great, tell ChatGPT to get started with it.
Yeah, so
and then you're off to the races.
Yeah, maybe the nuance to the legal department is to define the AI as another tool in your toolbox, but not an end-all solution for something that we are going to try to brand, sell, whatever. And that copyright, I don't. You're right. I don't think you can. I don't think it's a good idea.
Yeah, and I don't know at what point you could. Like if I prompted AI to write something, let's say I want to write an article about whatever. And I prompt AI to give me some ideas to get me started. And then I take it from there and massage it and write my own stuff and basically use that as the first draft that I hack and slash and turn into my own thing.
Yep.
Is the end thing mine? That I don't know. It depends on how much I've changed from the AI. I know that there is a line there somewhere, but I don't know where that line is.
I don't know where it is. I don't think we, as a society, know where it is. And
that's why the lawyers are being cautious about it.
Are we going to run into where the prompts themselves are going to be copyrighted?
Oh, could I copyright my prompts and sell those?
Well, I'm getting I belong to a bunch of newsletters about writing newsletters and marketing and producing content, all this kind of stuff. And they're often, here's our prompt. Try this prompt. Do this prompt. So why couldn't you copyright a prompt that's instructing an AI to produce? Because and I don't know if it'll always be this way, every time you try that prompt, it gives you a different result.
Yeah, but what if you ask the AI to help refine your prompt?
Yeah, you can and you should do that.
But then is the prompt yours?
No.
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think so. Yeah.
All right, folks, look. Whether you're starting or scaling your company's security program, demonstrating top-notch security practices and establishing trust is more important now than ever. Our sponsor, Vanta, automates compliance for ISO 27001, SOC 2, GDPR, and more, saving you time and money while helping you build customer trust. Plus, you can streamline security reviews by automating questionnaires and demonstrating your security posture with a customer-facing trust center, all powered by Vanta AI. This is such a cool thing. I love leveraging AI in this way for our businesses. It's such a smart way to be able to kind of pull all this stuff together and all the tech that's happening. Of course, it's not just us. Over 8,000 global companies like Atlassian, Flow Health, and Quora use Vanta to manage risk and prove security in real time. And because you're a member of our Business Brain audience, you get a special offer of $1,000 off Vanta at vanta.com/brain. That's vanta.com/brain for $1,000 off. And our thanks to Vanta for sponsoring this episode. All right, Shannon, you had an interesting topic that we were talking about pre-show. It's something about an oft overlooked upside of being an entrepreneur.
Yeah, I think that because we talk a lot about you're escaping the 9-to-5 and people want to leave and get quote freedom. We're going to talk more about that next week.
Yep.
You probably will be working harder than Actually, I can guarantee it. You will be working more and using more brain power, building your own business, especially in the beginning, than you would if you're working for somebody else. Okay, everything's blurred. But over time, there's upside. Of course, the whole idea is you're going to build something that's for yourself, right? You're not just working. You're not working for someone else, building something for them. You're building something for yourself. But I think what often is missed is that as you build, an analogy I like is like you're building a net. Okay. And over time, you get opportunities, and the more you build this net, every once in a while, something happens. And I know this from experience.
The net catches something.
Correct. Most of the time, let's keep it that analogy. Most of the time, the little fish swim right through and whatever. And that's just your day-to-day grind. And you build something great. And if you're fortunate, you maybe can build a few of those companies over time.
Yeah.
Like we've been able to do, which has been wonderful. But once in a while, you catch a whale. Right?
Yep.
It
happens.
It totally happens. It is the exponential upside that I think when people talk about entrepreneurship, it's often not discussed. It's you're going to build something great. Okay, great. Hopefully it's going to go like this. It doesn't. It goes, like this. And,
Shannon's making a nice straight line going, or a nice diagonal line going up. That's the hope. It never happens that way. But zoom out far enough, and maybe it does.
Correct.
Right? It's got plateaus and dips and all the other things.
It's the concept when somebody really makes it, and you say, "Oh, they think it's an overnight success." And they're like, "Yeah, it took me 10 years, right?
Yeah,
when I finally something."
You just didn't see the first 9.5 years.
Yeah.
Right.
And so along the way, don't underestimate the value of all of the skills that you are accumulating to be ready
and the relationships and everything.
Everything.
It's not just the skills, it's all the things. Yes.
Your network, your financial backing, your infrastructure, if you will, all the
your
tools,
trust that you built in the market, everything. Yes.
Everything. One time, you're going to get an email, or you're going to get a phone call, or someone's going to mention something, and all of a sudden, it's like game on. And it could be something happens, an opportunity comes along, and in a very short period of time, it could change your entire life.
I've had this happen, and I know you have too.
Me too.
I had it happen when you came to me. With Deals on the Web.
That's it. Yeah, that was one. Yeah,
that was one of those things. It was like one of those. My net caught that, and I don't mean to say caught is a bad. I don't mean that in the negative sense. Like I got to take advantage of this.
Yeah.
I was ready for it.
You're ready
it was a good partnership. It was mutually beneficial. There was it wasn't like I got the better of you. I don't mean to imply that.
That's right.
But without me having built that net, you would have never come to me.
No, that's right. You had something that you had built, and I had something that I had built.
Yes.
And I thought, let's combine those two things and build something great. And it was phenomenal.
For
a decade, right? Yeah, for a decade.
It really was a decade.
It was a decade.
Yeah.
So
we made a lot of money. Not like I was going to say not life-changing money, but that's not true.
It was life-changing.
Yeah, it was life-changing. It was it was like an extra income coming in.
Yeah,
and it didn't need to be millions of dollars.
No, it was one of the first things that I was able to start that eventually, not in the beginning, but eventually my time was not attached to.
Yes.
It was by necessity, because I had a couple other businesses.
Other things. Yes.
Yeah. But it was great. So as you're, it may just seem like you're going through this daily grind and this stuff, but it's not. You're preparing yourself for some opportunity that's going to hit. I'm sure, and I'd love to hear examples that have done, for other people too.
No, and here's the thing, folks. You might know it when you see it. when that big thing shows up. But you might not.
You may
like
not.
when you
Yep.
came to us with this idea, it was like, oh, okay, like like oh sure, like
Yeah.
another crazy person showing up with an idea, because that will happen to you too,
Yes,
right?
it will. That will
and
happen
then
too.
You and I started talking. It was like, oh, and I like you weren't an unknown quantity either.
Sure.
But sometimes an unknown quantity will show up. Like you and I knew each other. I knew you had built things, so it was like, okay, this person's not a time waster,
Right.
So it's worth. But even that, it was like, well, we'll see where it goes. But I have said we'll see where it goes with everything that has turned into the stuff that like built my house and buys my cars
that's right.
and pays for my kids to go to school. Everyone. Maybe the right way to say this is every one of these things, every business I've ever had has started as a side hustle.
I say that all the time. It's true.
In my mind.
Yeah.
It's like, like this,
Maybe.
It's a maybe. It's like, whatever.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't seem like a terrible idea.
So
That's
I have
the litmus test.
I
Yeah.
like that. And I have two points to make about this. One is what you're just talking about, side hustle, maybe an experiment. This you talk about.
Yeah. So don't expect that the thing that's going to change your life is going to like smack you in the face one day. No.
And I've always had one or two ideas, one or two businesses that I call my sandbox.
Yes.
And when I talk about them, now I've said this on the show a bunch of times, don't talk about what you're going to do, talk about what you've done. You'll sound better. You'll sound more confident, and people will give you more credibility.
It's the Shannon Jean way.
Yeah, it's true. But you need time to be able to do that, right? When you're a young person getting started, you can't. But what you can do, and what I've done, is talk about something as an experiment. I'm just experimenting. That's my sandbox. When I started that handbag business, I started talking about it, and I was like, people are going to think I'm crazy, right? I'm a tech guy that sells electronics. And I was like, well, it's just an experiment. I'm just going to try. And then I even made it sound more crazy. It's like, well, I want to create a company I can just run with my phone. Kind of hyperbole, but it got everybody's attention. And that's
so was the 4-hour work week.
Yes, exactly.
I mean,
Same kind of
like,
thing. So that's a great way to talk about these experiments. Now, the exponential upside thing, the other thing I want to warn people about is not to be focused on I'm only going to find those exponential upsides.
Right.
I'm only going for grand slams.
Oh,
Because you will
can't
not
know.
Yeah, you will not develop the skills you need to be able to bring that whale into your net, right? You just won't have it, and you'll fail at it. You won't have the financial means. You won't have the infrastructure. You won't have the employees. You won't. All these things you'll be missing. So what happens is when that whale comes in, it'll just slip right by you. So, and I know people that have spent their entire life trying to chase these big deals and have not done very well, and have even to this day, talk about this big deal next, this big deal next. And I'm just like, wow, man, I'm just a simple guy. I'm grinding every day. I'm building things. And once in a while, man, something comes into my net and it just boom, and it changes my life dramatically. And you only need.
Do you have something in your? Is there something that you don't have to articulate what it is? But did this topic come up because you found a whale in your net?
I don't have it yet, but I can see it.
Okay,
and I believe it'll be the most profitable thing I've ever done in my life.
Amazing.
Yeah, and we'll talk about it, but not for probably a year.
But not
or so.
today, right?
Not today.
No. I get that. Oh, that's why I asked the way I asked. It was a yes or no question, which is something we podcasters learn never to ask. But that's really all I wanted was a yes or no.
And
okay.
I'm building my net because I don't have the skill set. I know I don't have the skill set to land this well yet.
Got it.
But I'm developing them step by step by step. Is it moving fast enough? No.
Never.
It never goes fast enough. It's always more expensive, takes more time, all these things. But don't forget the exponential upside. And that's where your life will be changed.
Yeah.
And share it with us. Feedback at businessbrain.show.
Absolutely.
Tell us how, I did this, I was in the plumbing industry and this, and all of a sudden, boom, or I was in the printing business and then this, or I built a digital agency and then this guy called me. We love to hear those stories. Then we'll share them on the show.
And Ray Kroc, when he started McDonald's, was what, 57 or something,
Yes.
or 62 or something like. Yeah,
I think. Yeah.
So
he was in the blender business.
Yeah. Yep. Love it.
Amazing.
Feedback at businessbrain.show. We got more of your feedback coming on Friday, so make sure you stay subscribed, download that episode too, and keep living that charmed life. We'll see you on Friday. And we're out. It's good.
Yeah, great show. I love talking about that stuff. It's
same. Your audio has been like crystal clear, totally fine. Your video, to me anyway, gets choppy and then comes in and you freeze, and so
that's weird.
I don't know if you have are you on a weird Wi-Fi there? Which I figured I'd ask.
Yeah, I am limited.
Between
if
episodes.
I change it, will I bump myself from the show if I switch to another network?
If you do, it doesn't matter. The show's still we're just
in
in the stream here, so
I'm going to
it's
switch
fine.
right now. Hold on, I'll be in case you lose me.
Yep, no problem. We'll he will go dark and then he will come back, and it's all going to be okay. Meanwhile, I am taking the chapters and the audio from that show and putting them where Shannon can find them later.
I think I'm back, right? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. You sound great.
Fantastic.
And your video is, at the moment anyway, much smoother than it was. There were periods of probably 30 seconds where you were 100% frozen on the video.
I just switched it to my backup Wi-Fi, which is my T-Mobile. They just put a tower up not on a hillside not too far from my house, so that's not I should use that more. My other one is the company that shall not be named.
Okay.
It's Comcast, but it doesn't matter.
This is the one that begins with an X. It's trying to get us to call them the company that begins with an X.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, so we're in between. Dave's fiddling knobs, pushing buttons to make the episode easy for me to process when we're done. We believe in simplicity here. Complexity is the enemy. So we simplify this whole process. So by the time we record, I only have to spend about 15 minutes to process each show, and it's immediately pushed out on our schedule for the 2 episodes that we do each week. That's great. We were just looking at our
finished here.
Yeah, we were just looking at our stats earlier, and all the columns are going up in the right.
Everything's in the green, except for
right,
last week. Except for last week, but that was our fault.
Glitch in the publishing. One thing, but other than that, it's great.
Don't release 2 episodes on the same day. It's bad for your numbers.
Yes, it doesn't work.
It's bad for our numbers. I don't every show is different. I wouldn't say that universally, but we definitely unintentionally proved that for ourselves. So
we did.
Yeah,
that's right.
I panicked. I was like, "Oh shoot, Wednesdays didn't fire. Do it now!" And it was like 2 hours after Fridays had gone.
Should have done Saturday.
I should have just slow down. Do it Saturday. It's gonna be okay. Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah. That's fine. We live and we learn.
Yep.
If you hear us, who were our sponsors last week? It was Notion and LegalZoom. We may wind up getting asked if the numbers are low. Here's the thing. If you haven't downloaded last Wednesday's show, which would have been episode 594, go download that. A, it was a good show.
Oh, yeah.
And B, it helps us. So,
yep.
Okay. I got to move this around, and then I'm done.
All right.
Because we have more listener mail, and I got to get that right. Otherwise... we're not
very good.
Shape.
Oh yeah, that's true.
About to be 597. So
awesome.
Jeff goes away.
That's right.
Who is here? Ed. Right.
We talk about retiring, which is always an interesting topic, huh? When is the right time to retire? That's great.
Yep. All right.
Very cool.
I am ready.
I am ready as
rock.
well.
So here goes nothing. Oh, I got to bring that up. I got to do it the right way. Business Brain, episode 597 for Casual Friday, November 8th, International Talk About Money Day, and also Happy Birthday, Dad, 2024. Greetings, folks, and welcome to Business Brain, the show where we take some ideas. Some of them are yours, some of them are ours. We analyze them, we dissect them, we use them to tune our business brains each and every time we get together. Our sponsor for this episode is Vanta.com/brain. Vanta automates your compliance for your ISO 27001, your SOC 2, your GDPR, all that stuff. And you can save $1,000 at Vanta.com/brain. We'll talk more about how that works in a little bit. For now, here in Durham, New Hampshire, I'm Dave Hamilton.
And I'm still out here in Northern California. I'm Shannon Jean.
Amazing.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Hey, we got a review in where you can go to businessbrain.show/review or reviews. I have it both work to the same thing. That's the easiest path we can get you there to review things. It all works well. You can review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or several others too. This was an Apple Podcast review from KDU472. Boiled down to, the title of the review, 5 stars. Really good stuff. Boiled down to great info for small businesses and about small businesses. Always fun to hear the good, the bad, and the ugly. All of those got us where we are one way or another. Thanks for pulling it together for us. And that was KDU472. So on Apple Podcasts
awesome.
in the U.S. Yeah, thank you for that, KDU.
If you want to help us out, if you enjoy the show, one of the best things you can do is go leave us a review at that link, businessbrain.show/reviews.
Yep.
That'd be awesome.
Yep.
Yes. You have a question from a listener today, right?
We do have a question from Ed. Ed says, I've only recently started listening to Business Brain. I've been a listener to Mac Geek Gab since its inception. Well, that's great, Ed. I'm retired now. He says I'm 68 and doing well. I spent my entire career working for others as a software engineer, but I've done well. I'm comfortable with my retirement. I'm using my new time volunteering my efforts for a couple of nonprofits, basically nothing to do with my previous life. They know that myself and family come first, but they are a close second. My questions are, when to retire? I'm enjoying listening to your show and thinking of doing things, new things. I understand the allure, but I also want to enjoy my retirement. Should I consider starting new again and being an entrepreneur? Or should I use my skills to help simply others moving forward? I feel like a dad, a grandpa, to one of those nonprofits. Or should I simply accept and enjoy retirement, whatever that means? What are your long-term plans? Well, that's a hard question, Ed.
Good question.
I know.
I think you have to preface this conversation with another question is, what is your definition of retirement? Right? Because like when we sold Tech Restore in 2017, kind of technically I retired, but when I really think about it, I just retired from having employees, which was a big deal.
For now.
Yeah, for now. But
I realize you may never go back. I definitely understand this.
I have contractors that work for me,
right?
But having a big team and managing all that. But I kind of consider myself retired in the sense that I have a ton of flexibility.
Okay.
But I still work all the time. I still put time in on the weekends. I still come up after dinner back to my office and spend time recording videos and building this or doing this and do that. But I really enjoy that. And I don't know that I will ever stop that.
Yeah.
Because even though I do have some other things I want to do, this part, using my brain and connecting with people, online and in person, it makes me a much better person. And I think I will always do that. And I have some nonprofit stuff I'm involved in. I know you've done some stuff too, just like Ed's saying. So that's part of it. So I don't, how you define retirement, the thing I would just say is you can never just stop. Whatever it is you're doing, I don't think you should ever stop completely.
I mean, I feel that way. I know there are some people that retire and like actually enjoy their time, they travel, but they replace work with something else, generally speaking.
That's very important. Yeah. That's right.
And so like retirement, it sounds like for Ed, retirement has bought him flexibility and perhaps even freedom, right?
Yeah.
We're going to talk next week about those two things. But it sounds like he has structured his finances and his life in such a way that he doesn't need to earn an income potentially ever again, right? He doesn't need to like set up whatever he's got. Now, obviously, he didn't articulate that. Although it is International Talk About Money Day,
there you go.
And which was created to encourage us all to not be so closed about talking about money, but which is a great thing, I think.
I do too.
Yeah.
I think,
but yes, I think. Well, yeah. The definition for me to answer Ed's question, I don't know that I'll ever retire. I'll share a story. I was talking about retirement. This was 15 years ago or something, and Lisa looked at me and she's like, "You would retire?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah. I mean, like, I don't know. Someday we sell the business and whatever, and like, I don't. Yeah, who knows?
Yeah."
And I'm like, but she's like, "Well, what would you do?" And I said, "Well, it'd be really cool to run an ice cream truck, like,
I think that'd be great.
Like to just drive around and like you're giving people selling. Like if we do really well with the businesses, maybe I'm the free ice cream truck. I don't know. But even if we're not, I got to cover my costs or whatever. I'm selling ice cream. And like people are always like, you hear the sound of the ice cream truck come into your neighborhood. Everybody gets happy.
Yeah.
It's an awesome thing. And she's like, okay. And I said, yeah. I said, now the only problem with the ice cream truck is I would want to learn all the different neighborhoods and the right places to go. And I have a feeling that during that first year, I would find the places to go, but I would realize that I wanted to be in more than one place at a time. So for the second summer, I'd probably buy 2 more trucks.
That's it. It's your brain.
And right. And she's like, okay, so this isn't retirement. And I'm like, well, I don't know. Is it like I work summers? I work the days I want.
Yeah, and separating it from income. I think that's important. And
right, but I would need those other trucks to pay for themselves. Obviously,
yes, of
goes
course,
without saying.
Yeah. I always say this, and I'm careful how I say this because I don't want to sound. Excuse me. I don't want to sound too bougie, but once you solve for money.
Yes.
Everything is different, right? Because it does allow you to have that flexibility, which we're going to talk more about next week. And I sincerely hope you get to that point. And I hope that by listening to us, we can help you get to that point. And it's just starting to get going. Doesn't matter how old you are. I didn't have a lot. I mean, I had a great life and some good success and everything, but I was in my 40s, that decade, that things really, my net was strong enough, like we talked about in the last episode, to take advantage of all these opportunities that came along. And I knew I was much more mature and steady and, so I just don't know that there is a right time. And I certainly don't think you can generalize about it. I think that it's so unique to each of us when we get to that point. Hopefully we're healthy. And, I would say you're not retired if you're, helping and nurturing a nonprofit. And
like you are retired from Tech Restore.
Yeah, retired from your career.
Retired from that job.
From that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But you've taken on another job. You're not an ice cream man like Dave wants to do. But, like I have some things I want to build as well.
Yeah.
But I don't consider them, related to my business career. So yeah, it's a great question though. It's just different for all of us.
All right, folks, look, whether you're starting or scaling your company's security program, demonstrating top-notch security practices and establishing trust is more important now than ever. Our sponsor, Vanta, automates compliance for ISO 27001, SOC 2, GDPR, and more, saving you time and money while helping you build customer trust. Plus, You can streamline security reviews by automating questionnaires and demonstrating your security posture with a customer-facing trust center, all powered by Vanta AI. This is such a cool thing. I love leveraging AI in this way for our businesses. It's such a smart way to be able to kind of pull all this stuff together and all the tech that's happening. Of course, it's not just us. Over 8,000 global companies like Atlassian, Flow Health, and Quora use Vanta to manage risk and prove security in real time. And because you're a member of our Business Brain audience, you get a special offer of $1,000 off Vanta at vanta.com/brain. That's vanta.com/brain for $1,000 off. And our thanks to Vanta for sponsoring this episode. Shannon, you and I both find ourselves in positions where we want to take something we know and help someone else with it. In fact, we do that on this show. I do it on my other show. I do it with my employees. You've been doing this lately, and you noticed noticed an important trend.
Yeah. I think that I was, making the mistake of assumption, I guess is what it is.
Sure.
Just because I have done something so many times and, know which buttons to push and click and this and that. And I found myself describing what can be a very complex thing for people just starting out and me just describing it like in one sentence.
Sure.
And the example I have is a lot of stuff about buying. I talk about buying liquidation products on auctions, Costco returns, Home Depot returns, all this kind of stuff. I talk about it all the time. And step one is get a resale permit. And I always put that, I just number one, get a resale permit. And I go on to 2 and 3 and 4. And it's been months before somebody finally said, how do you do that?
How does that work?
How do you get that? And so then I even did it again. I said, just search online for your state plus resale permit. But it's not that easy. It's not that simple. And every state is different. And so I backed up and I did a whole lesson on here's how to find, the location for your state. And here's the steps to go through. Here's how you answer these questions, like what sort of entity and how are you going to, record this? What address should you use? All this kind of stuff. And it just got me thinking about, reminding me that because I've done something so many times and I may be, like you said, on step 5, you have to really break down steps 1 through 4.
Yeah.
So people can follow along. And I would encourage all of us to look at the things we're trying to teach, whether it's in our customer service departments, our employees, everything. And are the steps clear enough that someone with no knowledge that wants to learn can just start and follow along?
Not everything can be shown. It can be taught with a look over my shoulder kind of thing, like a Loom video or whatever, right? But I often find with all kinds of things that the look over my shoulder while I do it thing is often the key to unlocking what step you're on, right? Like,
I love it.
Like you said, you'll start with this. It's like, well, okay, wait, how did you get there? And someone watching over your shoulder, either virtually or in real time, in real space, will say, wait, you just did 6 things.
Exactly. Yeah.
Can we go through those? And you're like, oh, right. Like you've never done this before. So of course you don't know those 6 things, but they become so automatic. We have a segment on Mac Geek Gab, which is, just tips and tricks and answering people's questions for their computers and their technology. And we have a segment for things that we call quick tips.
Okay.
These quick tips, the general gist of it is something that you do all the time, but is so automatic you don't even think about recommending it as a tip. But someone watches you do a thing on your phone and they think you have conjured up magic.
How did you do that?
What?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you didn't know?
Yeah.
It's those things that are so automatic to us that we don't even think about it anymore. And yet super valuable to other people. And of course, one of my favorite examples of this, and it comes up every year and a half or so. If you have an iPhone and you're, typing somewhere, like in messages or mail or whatever, hold down on the space bar on the keyboard.
That's such a great one.
And then wait a second, and it will turn the keyboard into a trackpad, and you can move the mouse cursor around that didn't previously exist to wherever you want in the text. And it's one of those things that it will make the rounds. And I know there's some of you hearing it that are like, wait, what is he talking about? Try it. Text field, hold down the space bar. But it's things like that, right? Once you learn that, it becomes so fundamental to the way you use your iPhone that you forget about it until somebody sees it over your shoulder. Like those kinds of things. But it's hard to identify those. A lot of quick tips come in from listeners for that. And it's like, oh my gosh, I do that. I never thought to mention it on the show.
Yeah, for sure. Sure. And I love
hard. It's really hard.
It is hard. And I use Loom a lot for this.
Yep.
And now I'm using it for answer. Like somebody sends me a 10-question email. I often just fire up Loom and do it. Speaking of Loom, did you know that they sold for $975 million?
What?
Yeah, to Atlassian or Adley.
Atlassian.
Atlassian. Yeah. I didn't know that. But it's such a great app.
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of dough. I don't know what their investor or cap table looked like, how much the founders got, but I hope they made a ton of money because I use it. I literally use it every day. Yeah. And it's just a great piece of software. And that is that, hey, I'm looking over your shoulder. I'm giving you some tips.
Yes.
And they can ask questions right there. It works good. And so, I would just encourage you to back up a little bit, especially if you find people are not grasping it. And I've been working with a team that's overseas, different cultural things, and sometimes they will say yes, yep, and then I go back and go, wait, what happened? And so I've been backing up and recording more loops. Like, this is what I mean. We talked about it on our call, but let me show you what has to happen, because if it doesn't, and I've had this happen a couple times where I go, we talked about this. It was one of our items on our list here, but showing them is very powerful.
A whole different thing. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if it's good to back up, good to slow down, good not to assume, as they say, because we know what happens there. And
it is. We do.
Start at step one and teach people what to do. So.
Yep. Yeah, it's hard though. It is
hard.
It's
I'm used
really
to moving
difficult.
fast. And speed is something that's it's a huge benefit to getting things done, but you got to understand.
Our minds are engineered like, it's the way our brains work.
Yeah.
To find shortcuts so that so things become habit, they become automatic. We don't have to think about them. Think about what the next time you get into your car, if you own a car, just think about all the little steps that you do when you get into your car. 100% of them are automatic, right? But from the time you grab the door handle to when you've started the vehicle, think about each individual step. What are you doing? Where do you put the key? What do you do with your phone? How, watch what you do with your foot when you push the thing. And there's a whole choreographed thing that happens, and you could do it in your sleep. And unfortunately, some people kind of do, and that's bad. But don't do it in your sleep. But
that's right.
But think about those things, and then it's I don't know. It's just hard. Feedback at businessbrain.show. We love when we get emails like we did from Ed and I forget who it was
Jeff.
the other day. Jeff, thank you. Yeah. And we've got more coming. So keep them coming. Feedback, businessbrain.show. We'd love to hear from you. Stay subscribed. If I have one ask, leave us a review. businessbrain.show/reviews. We would love that. Keep living that charmed life. We'll see you next week. Have a great weekend. And we're out. I mean, we're still live, but
yeah. Great. Thanks for watching the live stream. Like I said, the first episode we recorded a little while ago will come out on Wednesday the 6th.
So we think.
So we think, yep. Hopefully, if all of our systems are in place, and then
That's right.
the one we just recorded now will come out on Friday the 8th. And we appreciate your support. I'm going to go ahead and end the live stream.
Amazing.
We'll
Thanks for hanging out, all 390 of you. Woo!
Yeah, have a great weekend. 392. See you guys.
392. Woo! Just under the wire.